Hi everyone, this is the video to discuss On the Phenomenon of Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber on page 37, and it's in the guides on page 9. Okay, so the article begins with him using as an introduction talking about John Maynard Keynes, who was an economist, in 1930s, and Keynes predicted that with automation and technology, that by this time we would be working like 15 hours a week because machines would be doing so much of the work for us. And then, but of course, so that's all paragraph 1 does. And then the article goes on and points out, well, obviously this didn't happen. So what in fact happened, because by paragraph 3, and I admit this is a challenging article, it explains that it is true that productive jobs, meaning jobs of producing things, factories, farming, in those sectors, employment did go down a lot because those jobs were able to be automated. And yet, why are we all working so hard? So paragraph 4 is where the article starts to make its point that what happened over the last 30 or 40 years, all these jobs in administration blew up. The service sector, financial services, telemarketing, human resources, academic and health administration, and so forth. And these are the jobs that, if you turn the page in paragraph 5 all by itself, these are what I propose to call the bullshit jobs. There are also the jobs to support the bullshit jobs, like getting pizza at midnight, he points out, because if you're working in an office 60 hours a week, you can't make your own dinners and so forth, so you need these jobs that support that. Now, what he means by bullshit jobs are not necessarily jobs that you don't like and jobs that deal with icky stuff. So just to be clear, being a garbage collector is not a bullshit job because it's a worthwhile service. It may not be something that is enjoyable to do, and it might be dirty and tedious, but janitors and cashiers and people who pick up the trash, people who are plumbers and stuff, those are essential services, and especially under these conditions now, we are really seeing what is essential work and what is not. When he means bullshit, he means jobs that just don't matter. If the person didn't do it, it just wouldn't matter. And again, under these quarantine areas, you can really see who's got the bullshit job and who doesn't. So, for example, what I do here teaching, and this doesn't talk about how me or any of your other teachers, how good we are at doing it, but obviously if I didn't do this, if there wasn't someone here to do this, it wouldn't happen. You clearly know that this is a job that is not bullshit, that this is a job that has value. Whereas I would argue throughout the college and other places, I don't know exactly what they do in many of the offices behind the closed doors, sitting at the computers and things. And now those people are home, and do their jobs even matter so much to the operations of the college in the first place? I don't know. So, and you see this in companies all over right now, that there are people who could just not work and everything is okay. So he's pointing out what happened. Why is this a thing? And then one of the questions that I have in the, I know you guys like to go in order, but I'm not going to go in order for a second. Question 3, paragraph 6. What is not supposed to happen in capitalism that is? So capitalism, the system that we have as opposed to communism or socialism, in capitalism, everything is about making money. So why would these companies that are driven for profit hire all these people who you have to pay their benefits and you have to pay them salaries, but they're not actually producing anything for you? It doesn't make sense. So capitalism is not supposed to enable wastefulness in corporations because, again, you own a company, you want to maximize your profits. So that's an interesting thing. And he points out in paragraph 8, the answer isn't economic, it's moral and political. The ruling class, meaning the wealthy people and the government, according to him, have figured out that if you keep people busy, then there won't be wars, or there won't be revolution, and there won't be protests because people are busy and they're employed. You got to keep people active so that they don't rebel like they saw in the 1960s with the protests to the Vietnam War and such. So this is why people are being kept busy, so he says, doing bullshit jobs. And then what's interesting is that whenever there's downsizing, this goes back to paragraph 7, who gets downsized? And when automakers and stuff and in places, and you can see with our recent contract dispute here last year, it's the workers that actually do worthwhile work that are the ones that have to fight to get salary increases and so forth. Whereas when there are, and those are the ones who get laid off. You never see the people doing the BS jobs in the corporate office who ever have to worry about being laid off. They make more money doing nothing or doing things of less value, these made up jobs as he's describing it. And that's the condition that we've created in communism and socialism. The government, as opposed to capitalism, the system is designed just to keep people busy. And he makes a point that it takes you 3 people in a Soviet country to sell you meat. When I was in China, when we were adopting our daughter, we tried to buy bananas, and my wife went to just get the bananas and take it to the cashier. She got yelled at by someone because there's a whole procedure for getting bananas. One person picks up the bananas, hands it to another person to bag it, and a third person sells it to you. And you don't interrupt that because you're taking someone's job away when that happens, and that's one of the things that they want to avoid, because these people want to have a job, even though their job is totally wasteful. So getting back to question 1, talking about that, it's touched on in the early paragraphs, and in paragraph 14, he talks about the unbelievable, he calls it the profound psychological violence here. So think about this. The idea that you spend your entire life going to a job that you know is useless, and how that must, when we want to be productive in the world, we want our efforts to matter. So if you know you're getting up and you're going to an office and you're filling out forms and you're checking things on the computer, but you know that it just doesn't matter, even though you're getting paid well for what you're doing. I thought I needed this light, that's much better. You thought you were getting paid well. You are getting paid well, but you know that what you're doing just doesn't mean anything. That's got to have an impact on you, that you know that you're living your life. And many millions of people in this country do. They go to a job, they tinker with the computer, they get paid lots of money, they take vacations, they have nice houses, but they know that their job and their efforts just don't matter one damn bit. And this is how that has to have an impact on people. I know in other classes I've used this thing. So imagine that you're a hairstylist, and obviously that's a worthwhile job. That's something that really matters. But suppose you got paid to just style the hair of mannequins, and you did up a mannequin's hair, did another mannequin's hair, and then as soon as you did a row of 10 mannequins, it just was messed up, and then you had to just do it all over again. And that's your job. That would feel terrible. As opposed to when you actually do real people's hair and you feel a sense of satisfaction that someone's going out into the world and showing off your work and you took care of them. Doing the same effort for something that's totally useless has to really hurt. So again, these are all possible concepts and things that people can think about. One of the things that he points out at the end, there's a question, one of the questions, about the 3 groups of people. So one group of people are the workers who are always being persecuted in a sense because they get to do fun stuff, like, ooh, you get to teach. That must be a fantastic way to live because it feels worthwhile, you interact with people. So therefore, you shouldn't be paid a lot because you don't have to do the drudge of a meaningless job. So you have the real workers, the people who do the BS jobs, and then you have the unemployed. So we have a system, according to him, that explained in the last paragraph, of these 3 groups of people who are always at odds with each other. I resent the people being paid so much money for not doing anything worthwhile. People resent me for doing a job that they can see is worthwhile. It seems like it's fun, but they think, well, so he doesn't deserve to be paid as much. And then we all resent the people who can't get work for whatever reason, and then they have to live on the margins. So this is the system that he sees that we've created for ourselves, and the harm that comes of it. I'm getting close to stopping, so I'm going to put a pause. I'm going to stop this one now. I'll Put your comments in if you have any questions, and thank you very much. Bye.